Welcome to SchiZophia. I go by Calm. In Old Turkic, Calm is the word for shaman, the one who walks between worlds, who carries messages back from the places ordinary waking life doesn't reach. I didn't pick that name to sound mystical for its own sake. I picked it because it's the closest word I've found to describe what this channel actually is. A bridge between the rational and the visionary, the structured and the strange. I hold a bachelor's degree in philosophy, but this channel isn't really about credentials. It's about a thread that's been pulling at me since childhood. I grew up around spirituality. My parents were spiritualists. So questions about consciousness, meaning, and what lies beneath the surface of reality were never abstract to me. They were part of the air I breathed, long before I had any philosophical language for them. Over the years, that curiosity took me through a lot of doors. Sufism, with its insistence that the self is a veil to be lifted. Gnosticism, with its strange myths of a world built on forgetting. Buddhism, and its long, patient dismantling of the illusion of a separate I. And underneath all of it, the shamanic traditions that run deep in Anatolian and Turkic roots, practices older than any of the world religions and where the healer's job was to travel, to see, and to bring something back. Alongside all of that, science, quantum mechanics, psychology, philosophy, mysticism. I've never seen these as opposites. I think they're different languages, developed in different eras, all circling the same mystery. In my teenage years, and around 18, I had a non-dual awakening experience. It wasn't planned. There was no ceremony or no substance, no teacher in the room. Reality simply showed me something, and I couldn't unsee it afterward. The boundary between me and everything else thinned out, and for a moment, there was just what is. That experience has quietly shaped every question I've asked since. And for the past 6 years, and I've also been living with schizophrenia. I won't pretend that's been easy. There have been long, difficult stretches, but it's also given me something strange and valuable, a different vantage point, when the boundaries of normal perception loosen or break. You start asking very different questions about what reality actually is, what the mind is, where the self begins and ends. There's an idea I keep coming back to, one that anthropologists have noticed across many shamanic cultures. In a sense, the shaman is often someone who walked the same edge a person with schizophrenia walks, the same overwhelming visions, the same dissolving of ordinary boundaries, the same flood of meaning that doesn't fit inside normal categories. The difference is what happens next. In many traditional societies, the person was guided through it, given a framework, a role, a way to channel what was happening. And what could have been purely destructive, Banu, became a gift. The crisis became a calling. You could almost say a shaman is someone who took something the modern world might label as illness and transformed it into a way of seeing that the whole community could draw on. That's not a romantic claim, and it's not a cure, but it's a real possibility that what feels maladaptive in one context can become genuinely valuable in another if it's met with the right framework instead of just fear. That's part of what I'm trying to do here, not to glorify suffering, but to take the strange perspective it's given me and actually use it, to look at consciousness, reality, and meaning from an angle most people never get access to. This channel, SchiZophia, is the name I've given to that attempt, a blend of struggle and insight, madness and meanings held together. So here's what you can expect. We'll dig into mythology, not just as old stories, Buddhism, but as maps. We'll take ancient myths from different cultures and weave them together in new ways. looking for the deeper patterns they were always pointing toward. We'll explore philosophy, trying to make sense of the strange fractured moment we're all living through right now. The noise, the confusion, the quiet search for some kind of ground to stand on. We'll look at reality through multiple lenses at once. Quantum physics, psychology, mysticism, not to blur them together carelessly, but to listen for the places where they seem to be whispering the same thing in different languages. And we'll keep returning to the old myths, the old traditions, Sufi, Gnostic, Buddhist, shamanic, and beyond, asking the same question again and again. What were they really trying to tell us? And what might they still have to say to us now, in this moment? If you've ever felt like the official explanations don't quite cover it, like there's something more going on beneath the surface of things, something the maps haven't caught yet, I think you'll feel at home here. One more thing before we go. I should tell you why this channel exists at all. I can't hold down a normal job. My illness doesn't allow for it. So this isn't a hobby on the side. This is me trying to stand on my own 2 feet, to build something that lets me get by without leaning on my parents for the rest of my life. I'm telling you that plainly because I'd rather you know the real stakes of this than think it's just a passion project. And one practical note. You'll notice this isn't my real voice. I use an AI voice because hearing my own voice played back in a recording is genuinely triggering for me. So this voice is a tool, not a mask. I'm calm. Welcome to SchiZophia.